you should have done better back then, and you clearly didn't.
How's it
So,
going, buddy?
yeah, that
Guys.
was disappointing, and I don't know how the fuck you got LT, but you're LT, and so be it. But you know,
One
I
incident.
I
Two
think that
minutes.
sergeants need to start giving a little more
No,
of
it's
a
probably
shit.
should
I
be done
shouldn't
in a
have
minute,
to
I
be the
think,
one
mate.
who's
Okay.
editing all the documents and all that.
Out of 10, my landing.
And right now, it's
I didn't see it,
basically
mate. I was
just me, and then
AFK.
one
Oh,
other
fuck's sake.
sergeant happens
Ciao,
to
ciao,
show
bro,
fucking
sorry.
help and show interest.
Hi, Adam.
So, yeah, there's one thing.
No.
And then
Oh,
we're talking
so-
about the fucking sergeants. I mean, the whole thing with the sergeant server is originally supposed to be that there was no fucking leaking. And it got to the point where some people were saying shit that were blatant violations that had to get fucking reported out, and that degraded into a spiral. And that's all fucking
You're
nice
marching.
and dandy. But you know, we're slowly fucking destroying history here. We're destroying that. We're degrading the fucking
Marching.
value of promotion. What's up?
Pause this a second. I need to go have a piss, but I want to listen.
Fantastic. Anyways, yeah, you know,
So if you're so upset about this, why do you just not do it?
if I don't do it, no one's gonna do it, and then we don't do a responsibility. And the problem is, we already have multiple sergeants who aren't doing the responsibility. You're supposed to show up for meetings when there's meeting. I can understand there not being a meeting for this cycle. Okay, but when you don't show up for a meeting and you don't fill out the sheet, or you just say like, and you know, Sean's no longer the staff, but as Sean would say, oh, you know, you just come up with a date and I'll see if I can attend. We're trying to schedule. We're trying to be able to get the votes for people who we feel are worthy, you know, to vouch. And that's kind of like a core of the problem with me not having a meeting this time. I mean, I can understand it. It's only what, an 8-day cycle effectively, but I mean, fucking George Natalis,
I'm back.
he was a good corporal. I mean, there's multiple of us that saw him. He was a good corporal. And he got banned. He got unbanned. Supposedly it was for scripting. I don't know for sure, but you know, I still, since this came back, I've seen him. He should have gotten it. Now, as for Simon Henderson, here's the thing: he's fucking EU. He got the generic feedback. You know, the whole play with higher ups, so leadership X, Y, and Z. He got the generic feedback. We didn't bother looking for him in the last cycle, and sure, the server was dying. And it was incredibly slow. But could we not have put in at least a little effort to go play with him when he's on? Well, here's the issue: he's EU again. So, I mean, I played with him. I would play the most with him, to my knowledge, last cycle. And sure, I put him neutral, but at this rate, we're gonna give him a second month in a row of play more with higher ups and all that. And to me, I don't think it's fair, because he was like the number one, if not number two, most playing cop during the previous cycle. So it's kind of bullshit in my opinion. We should have done better as staff, and we didn't. So at this rate, he's gonna have to wait another month, which is what it is. And then that assumes that there's enough staff that play to make a difference in December. Which, I mean, if it's a margin of 1 vote, assuming everything were to stay the same, every sergeant were to remain sergeant right now, and no one else got added X, Y, and Z, or whatever, then okay. You know, I think it's realistic you get another yes vote for him, another +1. But I personally don't think it should have gotten to this point. I would, you know, as I've stated, I'd rather not have the meeting if it meant that, you know, the two of them got either enough yeses to where they pass, or enough no's to where they could not mathematically pass. So instead, we ended up spiraling into this whole yes, do you want to have, you know, do you want to promote X, Y, and Z? So we did a text version of meeting asynchronously. It wasn't meeting, but it's, you know, back and forth. And then we had fucking Alex split up into a vote of whether or not you want to promote X person, the other person, or if you want to have no meeting, or not it wasn't even no meeting, just to skip the cycle. And then he used a fucking clown and a monkey emoji. That's not a coincidence. You could have put in 2 extra seconds to pick serious emojis. It could have been a 1, 2, I mean, you could have done anything besides use the joke emojis. Even if they're your most popular, use ones that pop up first. There's no excuse for that. You intentionally wrote out to use those emojis. So it's a joke, and I think that Alex isn't taking the shit seriously, and I don't think he should be a sergeant if he's not taking the shit seriously. And is that a hot take? Yeah, sure. I don't care. That's what I think, and I'm an old dog sergeant, and I think that some things are being watered down to a point where where Gatorade will be in one game.
Fly a bit higher, mate. I'm trying to hear
Okay,
if anyone comes.
So let me ask you this: what do you want out of this?
User joined your channel.
I want people to take shit
Cheers.
more seriously.
Do I put in the bare minimum?
But we're all here to have fun.
Of course, we need to have fun, but at the same time, you can't have fun being corporal. We should be taking things seriously. We're a staff.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from on the. But does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter if you put like a clown emoji and a penis emoji? Really, realistically, I know it's a bit stupid, but does it?
Alex here
Does it-
again. I think that grades are fucking value. I mean, what if we were going to shoot? We can have our names, whatever. We can have that tradition. I'm all for
User
having
joined your
traditions.
channel.
I'm a big fan of having the traditions. That's the same thing with the sergeant server. It's a large part of why I'd like that to stay. Now, I don't think we should be splitting 3 ways. One way is just have everyone vote on the actual voting sheet. One I thought was have the meeting as normal. I still that was my original thought, but again I gave my conditions where I support the alternative. I explained it here. Alex already knows. Everyone else here knows. So I just said it. But the third one of Alex here going in, putting the 2 emojis of the vote, and then a checkbox for the third one. It's like we've degraded now this process, and on top of degrading it, you're including these 2 emojis. So you could take an additional 2 or 3 seconds to put something more serious, like a 1, 2, and a 3 or some shit. Instead, we do a clown and a monkey. And even if there are 2 most popular emojis or whatever, you could have put in an extra 2 seconds of 3 seconds maybe of
User
effort,
joined your channel.
and made it a whole lot more serious. I mean, it because we already had votes in the voting sheet as well, so
I'm
it's
gonna
like
kill myself.
you could just put your zeros and whatever in, and
Bye-bye.
whatever. Okay,
User
bye.
left your channel.
So, anyways, that's my take, and y'all could disagree with it, but I think things need to be a little more serious here.
Quick question, do I put in the bare minimum?
Why do you care?
I mean,
If you think you put in the
you're
bare
out.
minimum, you probably do.
It's just a question from his perspective.
I think you're mediocrily average, which is
User
not
joined your
great.
channel.
No,
So-
well, that's not great.
With your logic of who puts in the effort and who doesn't, who do you think actually puts an effort then?
Do you want the honest truth?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, besides me. Yeah,
Naturally.
it actually is me, because I
You'll
Nick, as I've said, I have done the vast majority of the fucking document work, and I wish that more people would help. And yeah, we only have that one fucking person. One person a month comes over and helps the turnover and all this shit. And it is what it is. I offer to help train people, and I can't force people to want to learn. If they don't want to learn something, I can't force them to here, at least sergeant wise, upon other sergeants. But I mean, of the current ones, I appreciate Rupto Cons whatever document, but I think that general responsiveness is going to play probably a 75% fucking role, something crazy like that, because I think there's a bunch of sergeants don't respond, don't have a presence, don't have shit anything. But I think that the ones that are watering down this whole shit, and I'm gonna say, Alex, you'd be pretty down low in the interest. I don't think you'd be lowest, but you'd be pretty down in there.